Hello there, and welcome to the Stay Off My Lawn podcast, where we'll have a little fun, lots of laughs, and discussions on the common sense that needs to be applied to a lot of today's world news issues. And now, the disclaimer. Stay Off My Lawn is not intended as legal, medical, or financial advice. Void where prohibited. No purchase necessary to win. Open to legal U.S. residents 18 or over in the contiguous 48 states. Any resemblance to anyone living or deceased is purely coincidental. Actual price may vary. Only use as directed. Not a member of FDIC. And now, here are your hosts, Mike and Richard.
All right, welcome to this week's edition of Stay Off My Lawn. It's February 20th, 2024, and this is episode 55.
Double nickels, folks. Get them down.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm back. I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but I'm back. My voice is not necessarily 100%, but I'm here. I guess we ought to do a little update on what's gone on since I left. Should we?
Yeah, we're happy. We're happy. I'm happy to have you back anyway. We did one show while you were gone and trying to put the effort in it. And Charmaine just did a fantastic job. But trying to find a host, I had a couple of people. Oh, yeah, no, I'll do that. I said, great. Just let me know when you're available. I'm at your disposal. Never got back to me. I'm not going to beg and stand and keep harping on them. If you don't really want to do it, okay. Yeah. Don't care. Yeah. So tell me, you were in the hospital for how long?
19 days total. And that was supposed to be 7 to 10 days. Once the procedure was done, everything was, when I was in ICU, I actually got up and was sitting up and I was, doing pretty good seemingly. My voice wasn't too bad, but you got tubes and everything hanging out of you and that was uncomfortable. But, once they moved me into a regular room, everything went fine for a few days. My chest tube and my stomach tube was putting out more than they wanted, so they delayed things a little bit on that. They decided to try to pull the catheter out about day 5 or 6, and then they said, "Okay, you got 6 hours to pee," and I'm like, "Okay." So and it was the weirdest thing. I just couldn't. And so, of course, the best thing was when they had to put it back in, which was one of the most favorite times of my life. If you ever have a body part look at you,
stop talking about it.
You get a body part look at you like you have completely just thrown them under the bus.
What did I do to you?
Exactly.
Why?
Haven't I always been there for you? But so anyway, they put that back in. That stayed in seemed like another 10 days. They finally pulled the chest tube out and the nose tube, the stomach pump thing out. And that was kind of freeing. I was untethered for a little while. Then I got a fever, and they figured out the fever was a UTI, and the UTI came from taking the catheter out and putting another one back in, and taking it's like, oh my gosh. So so the UTI somehow spilled over into E. coli. So the E. coli went through my body, and that was more fun than a barrel of monkeys as well. And so it was like I was going from I kept going on a flight. It was like 2 days worth. I kept going on a flight from the Congo, which was 115 degrees, to Anchorage, which was 15 below. It was like I was either shivering or I was sweating to death, which was, it was fun. It was sort of like I felt like a world traveler. But we
gave you some exercise while you were laying in the bed, something to do.
And then they finally got that under control. They figured out what exactly type of bacteria I had in my urinary tract, and they got all that figured out, and they got So anyway, I'm still on an infusion. I got today and tomorrow left of my antibiotic infusion. Then I'm done with that. So let's see what else. Oh, and then they found pulmonary embolisms, which was from the inactivity from being in the bed for so long. Which they said, well, that can be very typical. It's like, well, none of this was listed for me, but whatever.
It might be typical for you to deal with. I am not knowing anything about this.
No, yeah, I always thought a pulmonary embolism, once you had one of those, it was like you were just might as well just sign the check, you're done.
Yeah.
But yeah, I still have one in my right lung. That's the big one. I think that's what's causing the cough and the voice to kind of do what it does. But that I'm on blood thinners. Oh, by the way, if you ever get the great chance of being on a blood thinner, one of these, I think I'm on Eliquis. The ones that get advertised on TV all the time. Well, that advertising money costs, advertising costs a lot of money. And they get it from the end user, just so you know. 1 month worth of Eliquis is $240. And that was after insurance and all the discounts that I could get. So I'm like, geez Louise. And I'm going to be on this for another 8 months. Yeah.
Yikers.
So this is it's a budget buster. It's really kind of fun. But other than that, everything went swimmingly. If I could say.
But other than that, Mr. Lincoln, how was the play? Jeez.
Oh, Our American Cousin was probably the best play. Yeah. We're on the right track though. I mean, I'm feeling better. I've been walking around so much better. And once I got home, things exponentially got better. So I'm doing much better. Every week, my body should be getting a little bit better, as well as my voice and everything. So next week I may sound like myself, and I may not, but I think I'm on the right track for sure. So,
Well, it's lovely to have you back. I mean, I try to get a hold of you. I got a hold of you most every day, earlier in the day, and then again toward the evening to see if, yep, you made it through another day. Yay!
Yeah. Richard's been there for me. It was about 3 or 4 people that texted me almost every day, and of course, my lovely bride she took the 55-mile trip each direction just to come see me every day. And sometimes she would just kind of sit there and crochet. We'd watch TV, and it's like it was very, very boring for her, I'm sure. But she was a trooper.
Wow, that's awesome that you were at least close enough to be able to do that. That is that would be like me going and seeing my granddaughter on the far side of Boise every day to go see her. It's an hour to go see her.
Yeah,
it's a ways away. Think, oh, it's just that. No, it's not. It's not a quick jaunt at all.
And plus with Atlanta traffic too. I mean, it's like,
I can't imagine.
She had to time that out better than. And plus, we do have a Peach Pass. If you're from Metro Atlanta, and even if you're from the Southeast, there's a bunch of states that have this thing where they have this coordination where any toll road, if you buy a pass for your toll road, then you can go to Florida and get on the Florida Turnpike. You can go to South Carolina has one somewhere, but they have this little conglomeration where they kind of honor each other's passes. But anyway, she can get on there. It's like one lane, and you bypass all the traffic and all the crap that goes on. The way Atlanta traffic is. So,
well, let's see. You got to watch the Super Bowl from your hospital bed.
I sure did. I was sitting in the chair, but yeah, it was.
Oh, that's right. You had did they bring in a chair for you to sit in there, or was that already in the room?
Yeah, there were 2 chairs in there. One of them kind of leans back like a recliner. That's when my wife slept a couple of times when she was there overnight. But I just sat in that and watched the Super Bowl from there. And of course, all the cutaways to Taylor Swift was, but whatever. Yeah, that was, I really expected to be home by then, but you want to make God laugh, you tell him your plans. But yeah.
Really, you do?
Yeah.
Let's see. Let me flip through that. Yep. No, that's not on your plan for today. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, your docket is full with other stuff. By the way, did you have pulmonary embolism? Anybody have pulmonary embolism? $500. So yeah, whoever had that square made a little bit of money. Bingo. So how was your weekend? Enough about me.
Oh Lordy, yeah, we went to our friends in Nampa. It's like 30 miles away from us, and watch the Super Bowl. He's got a 70-inch TV or something
Oh,
up on the wall,
nice.
so it's nice. We can go there, and we had a taco bar. Whenever we get together with these things, it's like, what are we going to do this time? So we had a taco bar. we,
Nice.
we went quick and easy. We were in Costco getting some stuff, and we brought in a bunch of other goodies, but they had a seasoned, already cooked chicken with they had a lime cilantro crema, some salsa, they had some lettuce shredded in it already, they had some cheese in it, and they had some corn tortillas all in this little tray,
Oh,
and there was a
wow.
bunch of the stuff. It was $15, and I went, we don't have to cook anything. We'll just take that. He made my buddy, he cooked up some seasoned hamburgers. So we had meat and chicken, and the chicken was so good. We had another meal out of it after the four of us had eaten. When we got home the next day, it was so good.
Incredible.
So yeah, it was. We had a taco bar that almost covered. We had so much crap for four of us. There could have been 15 people there that wouldn't have starved.
Costco has some really good food that they make there in the back.
Yeah,
They make a excuse me, they make a meatloaf with mashed potatoes, and all you have to do is just pop it in the oven for like 25 minutes at whatever, and it's like,
yeah,
so it's enough for like 5 meals. So I mean,
yeah.
to me that's fantastic, especially in the wintertime. For some reason, meatloaf in wintertime just
Yeah,
goes
my
together.
wife loves meatloaf. Let's
Yeah.
see, we haven't had it at our house in about 7, 8, 10 years.
Oh
I don't care
gosh,
for it at all.
no.
I grew up with having meatloaf all the time. I just don't care for it.
My mother
But I
used to
took
make used to make it very with lots of ketchup, and then she would crisp it. Well, I guess she put the ketchup on later, but it would be so crispy on the outside,
yeah,
and it's just like I don't know how she used to do it, but I grew up loving meatloaf. It's a cheap food, it's poor food, but
yeah.
I like it.
We had it, but we also knew where our meat came from. It came from my grandparents' dairy farm. He would raise the steers and stuff. I helped take the hide off, so I know where it came
Yeah,
from.
you didn't name
Um,
these animals, did you? I mean,
oh no, I would have no idea.
were you we're
I do
we're
name
eating
them when
Steve the
when I
bull
grow
or
them here.
whatever. Yeah,
When I when I grow them here, when I have a couple that I put out in the pasture, yeah, they do have names just
yeah.
because so you know which one had done what
Yeah.
or
Yeah, but you're not
the
gonna go out
last
there and
uh, let's see, the last one, I let my grandkids name them. So the boys, one of them said, "Well, that's Bangs, and that one's Ace." And it's like, really? Bangs had bangs. He
of
had
course, of
he
course.
had bangs hanging down in the front, and Ace had essentially like an ace of diamonds right on his forehead. So it worked out
Yeah.
great. It's like, okay. The other one, the first two were the Cheers boys. They were
The
everybody
ch
knows their names.
Oh, I
Yeah,
see.
it was Cliff and Norm.
There you go. There you
So
go. I like
we
it.
we kept Cliff was a little bigger, so we kept a half of that one, and then I doled out some others for things that were needing to be done. But I bartered my first demo with a gentleman in the area who did demos, and gave him a half of and an organic beef for doing my demo.
Oh,
So
nice.
um,
So the
it
grandkids
was
aren't gonna come over and go, "Oh, by the way, you're eating Ace." Uh,
well, the funny story about that is my granddaughter that's now in Phoenix, where we're going this week. We're headed down there for her first, our great granddaughter's, my granddaughter's daughter, our great granddaughter's first birthday. So we're going down to Phoenix for a few days
very nice.
to see that. So
It's gonna be chilly down
doing
there.
that,
You
but she was probably about 12 or something. They were up in Seattle at the time. So this has been 8, 10 years ago. And my daughter had made meatloaf, and she goes, "How do you like the meatloaf?" She goes, "Oh, this is really good. This is something because the hamburger stuff from when you raise your own is good."
yeah.
And then they told her that, "Oh, that's from Norm." And she went,
Oh,
"What?"
no.
She goes, I've never eaten something I've met before."
Oh, we ever tell you about the story about the Donner Party? Yeah.
Yeah. So that was, oh, she was just, oh, no, I don't think she really cared,
Uh,
but It was so traumatic.
As a
So
child, that's got to be, yeah, I would
yeah,
think.
so I've never eaten something I've met before. Really, eating a hamburger is fine, but if you met where the hamburger came from,
Yeah.
my wife did that a little bit on the first one too, and then is like, "Dang, this is good."
I
No more
hugged its
problem after
neck.
that.
I didn't know he was so delicious when I hugged him the last time. Oh,
We don't
goodness.
get that involved with them. They're still pretty.
Well, hey, we're
All
up against
right.
a break. When we come back, we're going to actually get into some meat of the, speaking of meat, some stories from this week.
What a segue!
See, I'm getting back in the
You
groove here.
still almost got it.
I
Way
almost
to
got
go.
it. Yeah, I've been that way my whole life. So anyway, hang in there. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned for more of the stay off my lawn, peed, but yeah, you know the thing. Anyway, they'll be right back.
Join the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society to help light the night and bring hope. Light the Night is a nationwide event that brings communities together to honor, remember, and celebrate those who have been afflicted with blood cancers. Lift your lanterns high and help shine a path to a cancer-free future. Be a part of Light the Night and find your local event at lightthenight.org. Let's light up the night and make a difference together. That's lightthenight.org to get involved.
All right, welcome back to Stay Off My Lawn, segment 2. And by the way, we were going to talk about, we added another country to our repertoire
that's
or whatever.
right.
Yeah.
That's right. I didn't have that on there. I took that off one more. We're now up to 15 countries. That's right, 15 countries.
Just in the last couple of weeks, we added Hungary to our list of countries
I've been
that
hungry last couple of weeks.
Yeah,
You
well,
mean
yeah.
the country? Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, isn't that the country that has the guy that goes, "You leave us alone.
Yeah.
We don't want your stuff. We don't need you to be telling us."
We would
Isn't
pick
that
you
where
up
he's
and
from?
throw you out the gate. Yes, and they do. Which it's not just an idle threat, which is kind of the way we roll over here. But yeah, that's if we could add a good country, it'd be Hungary and Italy. I don't think we have Italy yet, but anyway. One of the biggest news stories from this past week was that Trump was fined $350 million in New York City. Of course, that was like such a kangaroo court, and that judge was such a putz. As a victimless crime, all the loans are paid back. Elon Musk actually tweeted yesterday, and I don't think he's necessarily a big Trump fan. He said that given that there were no victims with losses, who was supposed to receive the money?
That's what I want to know. Where's he going to go to help with all the
illegals,
immigrants
That's
that you
all I could
got
figure.
stacked in very nice hotels and that don't have to pay for anything, and they have a card and they don't pay for their rooms. They're just there. One hotel, they were complaining about things that weren't being right. Well, really, you can go back where in your mud hut or wherever.
Exactly. They were giving them meals and everything, and they came back and said, well, we don't like this food. So that's when they ended up giving them the $1,000 gift card every month. And I'm like, you gotta be, it's like, it blows my mind. I want a $1,000 gift card every month.
No kidding. I'll even take a $1,000 gift card for the year. But I'm happy with any of that.
Exactly. Well, the whole thing was a victimless crime. I mean, all the loans got paid back as far as this Trump thing goes. I mean, there was, and I think there's a part of this story that none of us are necessarily privy to because we're not in the industry. But in commercial real estate, I guess there's some stuff that goes on that none of us understand. Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank was interviewed by CNN recently, and he had some good insight on how that process works. And by the way, he's not necessarily a Trump fan either.
No.
But he kind of explained how all that works, and here he is.
And let's leave out politics and just talk about what happens in real estate development anywhere. So if you're a developer and you've got a building on a block anywhere in America and it's worth, let's say, $500 million, and you want to build a building right beside it, you go to the bank and say, this building is worth $500 million. I'd like to borrow a construction finance loan against this asset. and I want you to tell me it's worth 500 million too. And the bank negotiates with you and says, well, no, we think it's worth 400 million. And you fight it out. You're always trying to show your assets in the brightest light with the sunshine you could possibly determine for them. You want them to be worth the very most, because you're only going to get a 40 or 50% loan to value, as it's called. Then you borrow that money. In the case of a $500 million asset, maybe you get $250 million, and you build a new building with a construction finance loan. And so that's what this case is all about. And by the way, forget about Trump. Every single real estate developer everywhere on earth does this. They always talk about their asset being worth a lot, and the bank says no. And that's just the way it is. So in this case, when I'm trying to figure out, and I'm not pro or con, or I don't care about the politics, who lost money? Nobody. The bank got paid back the construction finance loan, and a new building was built.
You see, I mean, and that was just a part of it I didn't even understand. I mean, unless you're in that industry, how would you understand? I think most of America wouldn't understand. But Trump has done a lot for New York City, and this is how they've treated him.
Well, they've also put a lot of scare into other developers. In fact, the gentleman we just heard said, I'm not doing any more in New York. This is too scary and too risky to mess with. And so Kathy Hochul said, all you people that are doing this kind of stuff, and don't worry about it. You're not going to be challenged. This is just a Trump thing.
Yeah.
Excuse me?
So it's because it's the hatred of Trump. Letitia James ran on that. Remember, she said she's going to make him pay, and she did. She had the right judge, he's just a weird dude. But anyway, some of the fallout with that, lots of independent truck drivers have decided not to make deliveries to New York City. I was listening to Glenn Beck yesterday morning. He was interviewing a bunch of these drivers, and they're like, going, that's the way they're going to act towards people that are entrepreneurs, and that's basically what Trump is. Then no, forget it. They can find other people to deliver.
Well, and again, good old Kathy Hochul was in the news again on that. She's just telling people, don't worry about it. It's going to be fine. Panic's already setting in. People are going to stores and cleaning shelves off because they want to get stocked up because they're not going to have anything. So it's already caused a panic.
Yep.
So you created this, folks. You're going to have to live with the consequences of it, because I'm with you, regardless of whether it was Trump or whatever. This is like a third world country where all these people are being persecuted because they're of the opposite belief.
Yeah.
That's wokeism gone just way, way too far.
And like you said, the third world countries, that's kind of what they do. They squash their opponents. As a matter of fact, I think Zelensky did that in one of his elections. It's like he just had, the opponent.
They don't have elections anymore. Yeah. He stopped them so that he doesn't have to worry about it.
See, but that's what a third world country does for sure. And we're headed down that same road.
Yep. So it's just really sad. She was complaining about it. And it's like, well, you made this mess. I'm sorry. There are consequences when you have certain actions, as we all were told when we were kids growing up.
Yes.
Not that it ever deterred me, but
well, you didn't end up.
There are consequences to your actions.
Yes.
And good luck with dealing with
Thankfully, we didn't end up in jail, is all I can say. So, because you rebel a little bit. But yeah, New York City's just gotten to be, with all the problems with the immigration and the poop in the streets, and, it's gotten to the point of, if you're a developer, why would you? Why would you?
Well, they're beating up police officers.
Yeah. And getting let free like the next day.
You didn't like it, so a bunch of you just start kicking them when they're down, literally. You're really grateful to be here, aren't you?
Yeah. And then Alvin Bragg came out the next day after they released those guys, saying that he was going to be, I'm going to be tougher on these things. It's like, man, you have never been tough on crime, but why would you start now?
And since you brought that up, there was somebody was talking about it yesterday. The wife was telling me a deal that the criminals, they're like gang criminals where they go to New York and just walk in these stores and just smash and grab and take whatever the hell they want and leave. And then we found out they're going down and living down in Florida. They're hanging out down there with their ill-gotten gains. They've made money to go down to Florida. And they go, well, why don't you just stay in Florida and steal down there? Oh, no, we don't do that down in Florida. They'll put us in jail.
Yeah.
Literally, that is what they said.
That was their answer. Yeah. I did see that the other day.
Did you?
That's just
Yeah.
incredible.
And it goes,
Yeah.
does that deter them? Wow.
Yeah. I mean, who would have thought that having a punishment to a crime would be a deterrent to the crime in the first place? I mean, who would have thought? I mean, it just seems like such a novel idea. Oh, gosh. New York City is just a mess. We'll just leave that there. National Geographic has just recently named a drag queen climate activist who performs under the name, now get this, Patagonia. Patagonia.
Oh.
Now, Patagonia is not from Argentina, but she was named Traveler of the Year, according to National Geographic. The magazine wrote that the drag queen, who also goes by the name of Win Wiley, helps LGBTQ plus youth discover the wonders of the outdoors. I mean, the outdoors is always there.
Well, isn't it difficult though in those platform shoes to go hiking? I
didn't think about that. I can see broken ankles. Yeah.
Well, and what kind of critters do you come back with in those lovely big hairdos you wear?
Ooh, yeah. A little Lyme disease goes a long way. As founder of the nonprofit Outdoorist Oath, she brings the queer community together in the parks and wild spaces of Oregon, her home state. Of course it's Oregon, yes.
Of course.
This drag queen, put together a promotion for Pride Month in Yosemite, and this is what it sounded like.
Hello, in case you didn't know, gay people are literally taking over the national park system. I just hope they're Pride in Yosemite for the third year in a row. But this isn't a Pride for visitors to the valley. This is a Pride for the park employees, of which, as you can see, there are literal hundreds of queer Yosemite employees. We danced, we marched, we celebrated, and we got wet. I am so proud of all the community organizers within the park system who are making safe space for queer people all year round. No planet, no pride. Mother Nature is a lesbian. Goodbye.
So inspiring.
What? Mother Nature's a lesbian?
I have no idea.
It's not nice to fool Mother Nature.
That's true. Yeah. Ugh. What margarine was that?
If you think it's butter, but it's not.
It's chiffon. That's it.
There we go. I had to sing the jingle because I couldn't think of what it was.
It worked for me.
It helped you too. So,
oh my gosh.
Wow. I
don't even know what to do with that.
I don't have anything other than thanks for that wonderful uplift. Sorry. Oh, we got another one that's almost as bad.
Oh, yeah, this is really bad. Whenever a conservative group stands against having certain books available to children, I mean, like these filthy books where they have illustrations and descriptions of sexual acts, whether they be gay or straight, I think it's completely off the table when it comes to kids. And maybe that's just me being a conservative, but we're always called book banners when it comes to that, 451 degrees Fahrenheit type thing. And we're against the First Amendment. And of course, to me, that's just total crap. But Garrett Jones, he's an assistant principal at an Alachua County, which if you're not familiar with Alachua County, it's in the Gainesville, Florida area. It's actually a very small pocket of Democrat voters, very little red area. I guess any kind of major university, that area ends up being very red. Very blue. I had that backwards, but very blue. And they're just extremely left-wing, and they were really bad on the COVID response too from a few years ago. I remember reading extensively about that. But anyway, Garrett Jones, he's an assistant principal at the Alachua County Elementary School. He's defending himself for allowing filthy books in his school. This is his defense, which doesn't hold a lot of water to me.
I believe you two have children, is that correct?
Yes.
What ages are they?
18, 16, and 13.
And would you find it appropriate if they brought this book home and were talking about dirty magazines and pornography in a K-5 environment?
I think it would open up a conversation that we would have.
So you think the book is appropriate in the K-5 environment, even though it's referencing pornography and dirty magazines?
I think in my, what I voted for was that it would be for the 3 to 5 age group.
Which would be what ages?
So that would be 8 to 10, 12.
So you think an 8-year-old would be appropriate to be reading about pornography and dirty magazines from school?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
Wow.
That's his answer.
Yeah, I just went, what?
How
What the holy crapper doodles?
Why in the world? How in the world can rational thinking people think that way?
I don't, and you wonder why our kids are so stressed and have so much depression, and why there is rising suicides among our children in the early teens and prior to that, from 12 and stuff on up. It's just wrong. This is not the kind of pressure you need to be putting on kids. There's enough going on in society without shoving this down their throat.
Exactly.
I really don't. Am I not supposed to know who I am? Stop it. Just stop all that.
Just why is sex even brought up to children? When you and I were younger, that was not even something we even thought about. I was always thinking about playing baseball or whatever. I never thought about sex as an 8-year-old. No. I mean, I might be interested in why my art teacher really filled out that sweater, but I mean, I didn't understand why that was interesting to me.
Well, yeah, my sex education was the bull getting on the heifer, and it's like, okie dokies. That's just what you did. So you got more cows. I didn't think about it. I didn't know.
You never thought about how sexy that heifer was, but it's, even the magazines, I don't remember seeing being at a friend's house and seeing the magazines that their dad hid under the bed in the shoebox or anything until I was probably 12, 13, 14 years old. So I don't know. Everything's just so out of whack.
Yeah, it's just sad.
Well, anyway, we're up against a break. So when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about the left coast and how they they like to appoint non-citizens to serve on commissions. And we've got a story from Jon Stossell I think you're going to be fascinated by. So hang in there. We'll be right back.
The old guys return with more Stay Off My Lawn in just a minute. God help us.
Cure Search for Children's Cancer is a 501c3 U.S.-based nonprofit foundation that accelerates the search for cures for children's cancer by driving innovation, overcoming research barriers, and solving the field's most challenging problems. We fight every day to make new and better treatments possible for the 43 children diagnosed with cancer each day. Find out how you can help at curesearch.org. That's CURE search.org.
Hi, welcome back to Stay Off My Lawn, segment 3. We're halfway done.
Holy smokes, you're doing good. Your voice is hanging in there. It's not as strong, but we can still hear and understand you.
Yeah. That's all that matters. And next week it should be better. So we'll see. News from the left coast we have, where common sense seems to be illegal. San Francisco just appointed a non-citizen to serve on the Elections Commission. Kelly Wong came to the U.S. from China just 5 years ago. And didn't you say you saw an interview with her and it's like she didn't even speak English? Yes,
an interview and it was all in Chinese. Yeah. I don't know who it was that was it. I mean, I don't know that Red China came over and brought their news media. I don't know who she was talking to. Now, I do understand that there is Little China that's in San Francisco. It's been there for years, so it's got quite a large Chinese community there.
Sure.
But if you're on the local news, it's like, okay, it sounds like silverware that fell out of a drawer. I'm not familiar with that language at all.
Yeah.
But I like my Chinese food, but I don't want my election commission people that are illegally here to be on an election. That's what is wrong with the left And the Constitution, it's like, it's an old piece of crappy paper. Who the hell needs to
That's
follow that? No, that's been our guide and it's still very apropos. It's not outdated.
no.
There's nothing wrong with it. You have to have something that gives you a path to stay on. And we're so far off the path, off the beaten path. There's not even a path. I don't know what it is.
You're right. Excuse me. I don't understand how how they even look at taking somebody that came into the country. I don't care if it's China or wherever, but they're not that familiar with our election system. There's no way they can be. And what in the world could they contribute to to serving on the board of elections or on the elections commissions? I just don't know where that goes.
Well, my understanding, and I've heard it both ways, and I haven't figured out which one is correct yet. One said that they were elected to this position, and another said they were appointed to it. Which is it? I don't know. I've heard both ways. So if you were elected to it, how did you run if you're not a legal citizen? Do they have no criteria for things?
That's the thing. She can't even vote, but she's going to talk about, or she's going to discuss how people who can vote, how they vote.
How you need to have the process to
makes no sense.
What? Wait a minute. What the?
But it is the left coast, so we got to, none of this should surprise us, but it still does, thankfully. Once it stops surprising us, then I think we're just done. But anyway, does it drive you crazy how the media hates everything conservatives do or say or just values, conservative values?
The First Amendment is slowly dying a horrible death on Instagram, Facebook, not on X anymore, which used to be Twitter. That's not it. What's another? Instagram, Facebook, and
TikTok.
What's another? Trying to remember who else.
Probably TikTok.
At any rate, what's that?
TikTok.
Oh, TikTok.
I don't use that, so I don't know.
I don't either, but I do hear conservatives don't do well on it.
Yeah, exactly.
Just leave it. The Chinese don't like you to talk about those kind of things. They shut you down there quick.
There are still a lot of people that don't realize that TikTok is owned by the Chinese Communist Party.
I don't want anything to do with it. I haven't had to be on there. They say, oh, well, you need to be. No, I don't want to.
No.
I don't care. Well, you can get a lot of followers. I'm not interested in that. But yeah, it's I can't tell you how well, you know how well I dance around things and will call something what? Oh, that's nothing more than a steaming porcelain bowl full of refuse. And that's what I will put in, and that seems to go through.
Yes, it works better than BS. Yes.
Yeah. Because they will, others have done this. Are you sure you want to make this comment? Just by having a different opinion and not even being nasty about it. It's like, really, it doesn't matter what the words are. They will try and,
Yeah, there's something toxic about being a conservative. It's not just being white male. It's like, there's plenty of people of color that are conservative, especially a lot of them are coming over in droves seemingly lately, just because the way they've seen the way Biden has handled the economy, especially in the Black communities and in the Hispanic communities. They've seen that he doesn't seem to care at all about them.
He wasn't welcomed in Palestine, Ohio.
He sure was not. But Trump was.
Was he not welcome?
Trump was there right after it happened, and they loved what he had to say. Of course, it took Biden a year to get there. No wonder they didn't like him. And they never sent any money. I don't think they got any federal aid to Palestine, did they?
If they got something, it was like next to nothing. It was like the joke they sent to
Hawaii.
$700 a piece. Oh, what's that gonna do?
And you take a lot of that Ukraine money. I mean, if you just draw back some of that Ukraine money, we could have fixed so many things here in our own country. So
our debt is mounting, and not from spending in this country, but sending it elsewhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't understand why we keep doing
I'll
that.
never understand it. Well, anyway, Jon Stossell put together this story that puts a spotlight on the bias internationally too, and here at home on against conservatives. This is quite lengthy, but he hits a lot of good points. So,
have you noticed how some in the media just suck up to some politicians?
I'm struck just in your presence.
Struck in her presence.
Looking you in the eye with your passion that you were displaying.
Republicans are treated differently.
If I may finish just answering,
well, let me
this is really important.
I'm gonna go ahead and interrupt you here.
On the DOJ
Are you comfortable
and the
with that
FBI,
term? Let's
we have
just
seen...
on my question, though, Governor.
Excuse me.
Aggressive interviews are easy to notice, but some bias is more subtle. For example,
What a great campaign.
the media have always covered Iowa caucus victory speeches.
We're going to want to listen in very, very closely. Thank you, Iowa.
But this year, when Trump won,
Thank you. We love you all.
CNN cut away from his speech.
Here he is right now under my voice. You hear him repeating his anti-immigrant rhetoric.
Actually, no, Jake, you hear him. We don't. CNN wouldn't let us actually listen to Trump and decide for ourselves. MSNBC showed none of Trump's speech. Rachel Maddow said,
We will let you know if there's any news made.
Maddow says it's not responsible to broadcast Trump live because he lies so much. But we reporters can point that out instead of cutting away when he talks. I've repeatedly reported on Trump's lies. Trump lies even about unimportant things like the crowd at his inauguration, the ratings of his TV show. But Biden lies too. Here he lies about doing well in law school.
Ended up in the top half of my class.
Biden now concedes he did not graduate in the top half of his law school class.
He also lied when he said,
I have never discussed with my son or my brother or anyone else anything having to do with their businesses, period.
I shouldn't be surprised that the media treat Republicans differently. For every Republican in newsrooms, there are 10 Democrats. And now NPR has actually hired this woman to be its new CEO. She not only tweeted, Trump's a racist, but during BLM looting said, sure, looting is counterproductive, but it's fine because what they're looting comes from a system of oppression. She's now the boss of government-funded radio? Yes. Here's another example.
The governor of Texas refuses to give in to federal law.
Recently, reporters suddenly got very upset about rule of law.
The governor of Texas refuses to give in to federal law.
The media can't believe that Texas politicians put up a fence and won't remove it even after the feds told them to. But when it comes to sanctuary cities, the tone is very different.
Communities that shield undocumented immigrants by not reporting offenses to immigration enforcement.
They choose not to follow federal immigration laws.
They simply choose not to follow the law. They don't refuse like Texas does.
The governor of Texas refuses to give in to federal law.
Finally, the way the media labels politicians is just biased. Argentina's new president is a libertarian who promises to take a chainsaw to big government. So the media call him far-right.
Far-right, radical.
Far-right Javier Milei.
Far-right Javier Milei.
Far-right libertarian Javier Milei.
At least she calls him libertarian, but libertarians aren't far-right. Most of us support ending wars, free trade, gay marriage, and all sorts of things far from far-right.
Milei supports legalizing the sale of human organs.
Maybe you oppose organ markets, but it's not far-right. Conservatives are more likely to oppose organ sales. The shallow media just label anyone who doesn't agree with them right-wing.
Argentina elected a right-wing former TV host.
Far-right. Far-right. And Trump-like.
Donald Trump of Argentina.
He makes Trump almost look like a conventional political candidate.
He is nothing like Trump.
Economist Daniel DiMartino points out that Milei's policies are very different from Trump's.
The only thing that's similar to Trump is that he went against the establishment. He's funny in his speeches. He's charismatic. He has crazy hair. But that's it. I mean, this is a guy who's for free trade. This is a guy who's very set on principles, who's very smart on economics.
The media eagerly cover protesters who oppose Milei's cutting the size of government.
Thousands are attending at demonstrations opposing his drastic cuts to public spending.
Media call most any budget cut drastic, slash and burn, astronomical, draconian. But at least in Argentina, the proposed cuts are big. A lot of people don't like this. Unions are protesting.
In Argentina, it's very popular to protest and block streets.
It's the second protest against him this month.
But President Milei did something different because some union members get welfare payments.
He said that anybody who blocks a street illegally will lose all welfare benefits. Guess what happened? No streets were blocked.
Who knew that protesters blocking streets could be stopped by threatening their government handouts? You won't hear it from the leftist media. Libertarians get trashed. Republicans get interrupted and their speeches cut off. But Democrats largely get a pass, even if you can't tell what they say.
Beer brewed here, it is used to make the brew beer in this refinery. Ooh, Earth Rider, thanks for the Great Lakes.
But there is some good news. Today, more people ignore leftist media. CNN's primetime viewership fell behind the History channels recently. More people now get their news from independent journalists who publish in places like Substack and YouTube. Like us. It's a good trend because we're more thoughtful than the silly people on TV.
Mr. President, what did you order?
Chocolate chip.
Oh, yeah. If you want more hard-pressing questions like that.
I didn't know that wonderful clip was going to include some words of wisdom from Uncle Joe.
Exactly. That's why we didn't do one today, because
what
it was.
What the hell
included.
did he say? I'm Michigan.
Yeah.
What?
The Great Lakes and beer or something. I don't know.
Either I didn't get. I'm going.
And then, of course, they ask him hard-pressing questions like, "What kind of ice cream did you get?"
Yeah.
It's just incredible. I mean, Stossell nailed it. Nailed it.
Yeah. That was a perfect report. And speaking of which, have you heard CNN almost turned themselves inside out, getting after Tucker Carlson for going to Russia?
Oh, yeah.
He's not even a journalist. Oh, you mean his degree in history doesn't count? Because he can think for himself and ask good questions. None of you sitting there right now are journalists either, because you're worthless as proverbial faucets on a boar hog. And did I cover that nicely?
Yes, you did really well. I think that would pass right through the Instagram filters right there. But that's the thing. It's like he doesn't fall in line like the rest of them do and copy and paste all the stuff that comes from the federal government to report on. He does his own thing. Even on Fox, he did his own thing, and that's probably what got him fired. But I thought it was great that he went over and talked to Putin. Everybody needs a voice. I mean, whether we like it or not, we need to understand where they're coming from.
The old adage of keep your friends close and your enemies closer. What is he actually thinking? What is he going to tell us? Is it full of BS? Is it not? It's, you get to see it coming from the actual person and not someone's hearsay or made up story of things.
Exactly.
So I don't have a problem with it. They
either.
could have gone over and chatted with him too.
I mean, we're not sworn enemies necessarily. I mean, you don't see people like Jake Tapper, the low T Jake Tapper, going over there and talking to Putin. Putin is he's in his past, at least, he's a cold-blooded killer. But I mean, Tucker was not dissuaded. I've got a lot of respect for him for doing it.
Putin does. Let's not call him Putin. That can be really bad.
That might be
what he does on the weekends is his business.
Exactly.
But he doesn't like weak people. He has no use for Biden at all.
No, you can see it when they meet. Absolutely.
Oh yeah, it's like this man.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Mr. President Poopy Pants.
Yeah. Man, what a president. He's not even president.
And he's not, for sure. Anyway, we're up against the break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about NATO. And then we have a palate cleanser, too, at the end of that. So hang in there. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. More of the Stay Off My Lawn podcast is coming up.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
GOAT, G-O-A-T, acronym, stands for Greatest of All Time. As in, spaghetti sandwiches for dinner? They're my fave. Dad, You're the GOAT.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Hi, welcome back to Stay Off My Lawn, segment 4. We're almost done.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
Oh, wait, no, I'm not as excited about getting over with this one. I'm enjoying the visits again.
I like this one. Yeah, we haven't done this in so long. It's just kind of nice to get back in the groove a little bit.
That was a long vacation.
Yeah, it was a terrible vacation because the beds were terrible and the seats were even worse. But some people wonder why Trump was so heavy-handed with NATO. I don't know. I don't think we've ever talked about NATO. What's your opinion on America's involvement in NATO?
At one time I think it was a good thing, but it's getting out of hand where countries are now telling us how it's going to be ran.
Mm-hmm.
And we are footing probably, I would say, 75 to 80% of the bill of NATO. And yet these other countries are saying, no, you need to do it like this.
Yeah.
Really? When you pay your bill, maybe we'll listen. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
It's like, screw you and the horse you rode in on. Sorry, but that's not how it works. You're not doing anything. And now they're talking about bringing NATO in to put in Texas.
Oh, really? I hadn't heard about that.
Yes, that was a deal because, Biden gave them 24 hours to take that razor wire down, and they went, "Hey, Biden, there's your razor wire, bud. Why do you like that, eh?
I got you 24 hours right here.
Right here, bud." Yeah.
Well,
and he's just gone like he does with any other country. Was like, they didn't do it.
Yeah.
And how do you think your election's going to go if you go down and put military people down there too? And now, because of all the razor wire, there was nobody going across this one crossing. Now they are escorting them across the bridge.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, escorting them.
I think California is set to pick up 7 more seats because of all the illegal immigration, because they're going to look at census numbers. And remember when Trump tried to put on the census whether you're a citizen or not, and that got voted down. I think even the Supreme Court voted that down. But now, since California has absorbed so many of these illegal immigrants, then they're going to pick up a bunch of congressional seats, which I think is...
They're going to have to take a lot more of them in because they've lost. Now the total is up to almost 1 million people, and the wealthy are starting to leave in droves. Seeing that right now too.
Well,
you can have all these people there. You can't afford to pay for them because you're running out of other people's money.
That's true. Well, when it comes to NATO, though, there's not much in it for the U.S. There's not much in it for us at all. Our European allies use it as an insurance policy. The American war machine will come to their aid if everything goes to crap. And, you can see that attitude in those countries by looking at their tiny military budgets. I remember when the whole thing started with Ukraine, they were talking about, they were asking Germany and France and all these other countries to contribute to their war effort. And it was like, we just don't have much. Well, it's like, because NATO has America in their back pocket. If something happens, they get invaded. Well, we got America to come over here.
They're picking on me. Come over here. I've got a big brother that's going to take care of you. Neener.
They could never defend themselves.
What it amounts to.
Yeah, they could never defend themselves. That would be our job. It's a terrible deal for us. And I think that the media is, of course, fear mongering again, saying that we're going to be in deep trouble if we get out of NATO. We get out of NATO, it's going to be a big an asset for us because we won't have the money to spend. We won't have that liability if something does happen in Europe. Not that we don't have allies. I mean, we will help out, but I mean, NATO just kind of like firms up that we're just going to put our war machine into motion no matter what happens.
And there's where the problem lies with that is that, Mitch McConnell was talking about it, that, well, that money is we're going to build new war stuff. We're going to send them our old stuff, and we're going to get more modern stuff so that Raytheon and all them that build all the war machine stuff can still have profits and can still, make all.
And these politicians are in bed with all that.
Oh yeah, they're paying big. Those lobbyists for them are paying big time bucks.
Absolutely.
So that's where a lot of it's going, and why they keep voting for it. It's like, no, stop it. No.
Well, Tulsi Gabbard, who every time she speaks, I'm more of a fan of hers.
Yes,
she was
very intelligent.
She's super intelligent. How she was ever a Democrat, I have no idea. But she was asked about NATO and the whole situation, and here's what she had to say.
You've seen this tactic before when the Biden administration and Hillary Clinton and all these warmongers start fear-mongering. It's because they're trying to distract the American people away from what's actually happening. And when you look at what Trump is doing, he's talking about very real issues that the American people care about. He's talking about how our open borders, Biden's open borders, are destroying our country. He's talking about the rising inflation. He's talking about rampant crime in our streets. And now with NATO, he is forcing the American people and NATO members to be confronted with some very serious and important questions. For us, what is the role of NATO? Does our membership in NATO serve our national security interests? And if it does, then how much are we, the American people, willing to put on the line in our taxpayer dollars and in American lives? And how much are these NATO members willing to put on the line in their money and the lives of their citizens? We cannot allow ourselves, the United States of America and the American people, to continue to be in this position where these NATO members expect us to put up our money. They expect us to put up the lives of my brothers and sisters in uniform to protect them when they're not even willing to do that for themselves.
And again, you look at their military budgets, which is minuscule compared to the size of their countries.
Oh.
So,
well, and when Trump was president, he goes, hey, some of you guys who's not paying your bill, you needs to pay your bill or you're not getting protection.
And guess what? They paid their bill.
They paid their bill. Amazing how that happened.
Yep. And that's what a strong leader does. So
this has been awesome today.
Yeah. It turned out good. You have a palate cleanser for us, don't you?
Yes, I have a palate cleanser. And I'll tell you what, right now, in this age of news cycle that's out there with all the crappy politics and everything that's going on, it's getting to be dang tough to find some positive news for our palate cleansers. It's like, where is it? I spent probably 2.5 hours searching last night, and I finally found something this morning when I got up at 6.
Your lovely bride normally sends you stuff.
Yeah, I get a lot of stuff from her. She finds it. She goes, hey, this is something you can use on your podcast.
Yeah,
Bless her loving heart. I appreciate getting it all the time. But she hasn't had her Instagram and her Facebook and some of her stuff where she gets things from, because we got new phones and she went to put it in and got herself locked out, and we managed to get it. Normally you get locked out because you couldn't get in. You're screwed. Your account's done.
You're done.
She got back into it yesterday.
Too little. Too little.
Didn't
too late.
help our cause today, but it's okay.
Not at all.
She's trying to get packed and ready to go too for that. So, all right, our story today, yay, good news. It's called When a Preschool Was Opened Inside a Dementia Care Home, All Heaven Breaks Loose. So, all heaven broke loose. This is, they say it takes a village to raise a child. Well, centered on that, the concept of communal flourishing, Northwest England's first intergenerational care village. How's that one to say? Home to both older people and young children living and learning together, recently celebrated its official opening. Stimulation, learning, fun, these are activities that are known to delay the progression of dementia, and what better way to add these critical elements of life to a daily regimen than to let a flock of preschoolers do it. So Belong is a not-for-profit care operator specializing in dementia care. They have care villages in England's Northwest and West Midlands regions, and now marking the latest dementia-friendly development, That's what it says. Belong. Belong is the name of the place. And I keep going, Belong? What? That doesn't. Oh, Belong welcomed the Lord Mayor of Cheshire, Sheila Little, to declare the latest village in the country officially open. The pioneering facility on City Road supports older people to live their lives independently. The national charity Ready Generations partnered with Belong to run the village's integrated day nursery. The nursery children feature in the daily life of residents and tenants, enjoying experiences together, including shared meal times, stories, arts and crafts, and exercise. It was a pleasure to look around the village and officially open Belong Chester and to meet staff and residents, said Lord Mayor Sheila Little. I love their terms, Lord Mayor.
Lord Mayor.
That's right. This is a particularly exciting and innovative development as it includes a nursery which benefits both the children who attend and the residents who visit to play and read to them. I look forward to visiting again to see how the village is growing and developing. Breaking the mold of more traditional care environments, the $24.5 million state-of-the-art village incorporates 6 family-sized 24-hour care households, 23 independent living apartments, as well as the children's nursery. Centered around a vibrant hub of amenities, including a bistro, hair salon, a specialist exercise studio, the site is open to the public, creating a bustling environment for customers and the local community. The Chester division of the organization's award-winning home service care, Belong at Home, is also based at the location. Belong Chester is the 8th village in the Dementia Specialists Group and its 4th in Cheshire County, with its other sites in the Cheshire municipalities of Crewe, Macclesfield, and Warrenton. That's a different name. Similar projects have been pioneered in America as well. The Intergenerational Learning Center at Mount St. Vincent Nursing Home in Seattle, close to my neck of the woods, opened its doors to the oldest and the youngest in 2015. The 400 adults in the assisted living center join the kids in daily activities from music and dancing to storytelling and just plain visiting. A filmmaker named Evan Briggs launched a Kickstarter page to finish a documentary about the center called Present Perfect, which portrays what he calls the very real experience of aging in America, both growing up and growing old. So they're finding out more of these kinds of centers are good for those that have the dementia. They're still, how do you want to say it? Ambulatory. They can't get out. They can't just wander off. I saw one of these in Sweden. They built a village just like this was talking about, where there were shops and you go get your hair done and you go over here for a little restaurant to eat. There was 2 or 3 of those, and it was like being in a little small town.
Yeah.
But you can't get out of the little small town because we don't want you wandering off. That's not a good thing. Yeah. And some of them would have caretakers with them all day. This is your buddy that's with you every day that talks to you. So having the little kids that will, and the pictures they show in this are really wonderful. The old folks are playing with them and giggling. One, they were eating something and has it on their nose, and then the little kid put it on his nose, and they were laughing and just having a great time. It's a rough disease to watch happen. It's really kind of sad to have it go that way. So,
well, it's great that at least we're taking an interest in that too. You said in Seattle they're opening one, or they have one open now in 2015. But if those kind of things work, I mean, because every life is valuable, every life is precious, and especially when it's family, you hate to see. I have not experienced it, but I've had some close friends that have experienced this in their family, and it's just so devastating to watch all that kind of deteriorate in front of your eyes.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, it is. I saw my grandfather that was that way, but he had a pretty darn good life, clear up to. I mean, he was still bowling at 91.
Oh,
So,
gee.
tough old bird. Hopefully,
Yeah.
I inherit some of that.
I think you probably have. You're doing really well. Well, we hope you were somewhat informed and had fun like we did. Don't forget you can find us on iTunes, Spotify, iHeart, Google, or wherever you get your podcasts.
And if you just want to find some of our past episodes and our present as well, you can just go to our website at stayoffmylawn.us for all the past and present episodes we've done.
All right, and we will see you next week, folks.
Thanks for being here again, Toodles. Well, we had fun and hope you did too. The opinions heard here today are not those of anyone other than Mike and Richard. If it made you laugh or go, or even, then we've done our job. Sort of. Mostly anyway. And if we made you think about things in a common sense manner, we welcome you to the club. And if it didn't, then just stay off my lawn. See you next time.